I'm going to skip to the very last question, and after you each had a chance to respond, I'm going to open it up to the group because they've all prepared some questions proposed, and there are some difficult questions, so you may want to prepare yourselves. My final question for you are recommendations for this group of soon-to-be novice teachers in K-6 or K-8 kind of school.
So I was trying to put my thoughts together last night about how I actually do it. Like, I have a pretty challenging class this year. I have a severely autistic child. I have a student with a global development delay. I have a couple students with Asperger's, a couple students with attention deficit disorder. I was thinking, okay, with all of that, and I'm not exaggerating, this is just normal, everyday classroom. How do I do it? How do I get through a day? And I came up with
ELLs. Identified ELLs.
2. I would say 2. So I was thinking about how do I get through a day. So I came up with one word, and that is recruit. Recruit supports. So first of all, when a student arrives, first thing you want to do is recruit the support of students in the classroom that speak the same language. Seek them together. Even though they might not be the best of friends, it will help in the first few weeks just to figure out how school works in Canada. Recruit the support of the ESL teacher. Even though I knew Ryan couldn't see my student every day, I asked her, please just take him once a week and just check in with him. It's good to have somebody else checking in with your student one-on-one or in a small group just to make sure that they're okay. Recruit the supports of the special ed teachers so that your special ed students can be taken care of for a period. So that frees up time for you to conference with your student, modify their program, do anything that you need to do in a small group situation. And then the last thing is I recruit my students as a whole. And by saying that, I mean I train them to be independent. And I'm sure you've heard about the Daily 5 program. Is it still being talked about? No, we've moved on to something else. But anyway, the Daily 5 program is a language program that you do in your classroom, but really it's about training your students to be independent. And I struggled so much as a teacher to train my students to be independent so that they wouldn't bother me during guided reading. They would ask me 50 million questions while I'm doing guided reading. And I needed to train them to be independent. So I highly recommend that program because if your students are independent, then that gives you the time to sit together with your ESL student, to work together with them, to do any assessment that you need to do, to teach them the alphabet.
Can you just quickly explain what the Daily 5 is?
Sure. Okay, so the Daily 5 program was it was written by the two sisters, Joan Moser and I can't remember the other woman. They're always at the reading conference in Toronto presenting. So basically what it is the students choose 5 things to do every day. They can do read to self, read to someone, work on writing, work on words, or listen to reading, which could be like on the computer. And so every day during the language period, you ask them which one they want to do. And because they get to choose what they want to do, it is so powerful because every day they ask, can I do Daily 5? Because they want to choose what they want to do. Sometimes they have an idea, they want to write something down, they want to make a book with a friend, or they want to read a particular story together with a friend. So it's a really powerful way of getting your students to be independent so that you are freed up to do whatever competency you need to do with your students. So I highly recommend that.
Thank you, Leanne.
I'll talk a little bit about, so from a middle school perspective, one of the things that I find is that students spend a lot of their day in silence, especially students who are new to Canada. And I don't think anyone should have to spend an extended period of time in silence, not being able to express themselves. And you know, when you are going through puberty, which children in middle school are, and you're developing your voice and your identity, it's a really big time for this, and developing their critical thinking. I think it's really important for you as a classroom teacher to make sure that that student is not just sitting there quietly, never part of the classroom, never saying anything, and using all the strategies that you're learning here to really include them and yes, in the classroom.
So one thing I can maybe recommend for you is that something I tried and it worked really well was I had a club with the students after school, and we did two things that they loved the most. And one was that they would teach the other students, well, it just so happened to be that everyone was Chinese. So it can maybe or maybe not work for you, but we offered free Chinese lessons after school. So we got a parent to come in because I don't know Chinese, and we needed someone to help us structure the lessons for a novice, and we had to agree upon how we would do that. And then people actually came and wanted to learn Chinese after school for it was like 30 minutes once a week. And the students loved feeling like they're teachers. The parents loved coming in and being experts, and they really are. And the other students learned a valuable language because in the global economy, I mean, Chinese is really quite important. It was Mandarin actually that we were teaching. So something like that, if you can get community support and then the students to feel like they're experts, which they are, and the other students to need to learn from them. And then I could see them in the hallways talking to each other. After that, they became kind of, I don't know if we would use the word friends, but comfortable with each other. And so that really worked for me. And the other thing we did was I asked the students to create a presentation for the rest of the teachers in the school. And we created a presentation. I said, okay, tell the teachers who you are, where you've come from, what kind of things bother you about the classes that you're in respectfully, and then what kind of things you need. And so we made a presentation. It took us the whole year. We met once a week every day after school for an entire year, and we did this in the June PD for the teachers. So it took a very long time, but the students had to present, which normally they don't even feel comfortable talking in front of a teacher, but they presented, and they told the staff themselves what they needed, and I edited it, but I didn't direct what they said, and the staff really appreciated hearing from the students themselves what they need, what they like, what they don't. And yeah, something like that where the students tell you themselves authentically, you hear their voice, and the staff hears it, not from the ESL advocate teacher, because then you kind of seem like you're a champion for something, and the other teachers don't like that. So let the students do it, and